I was talking with my daughter last night, and she was telling me how she got angry at me and frustrated with her homework. And when she got that way, she took her pencil and she started stabbing the side of my chair. And she told me about this when we were saying goodnight. And I didn't know what to say. I was kind of like, what? You did what? And at first, my instinct, at least my past instinct, was to like lose my shit on her. Like, what the hell do you think you're doing? Why would you do something like that? But I paused, as I have been practicing, and instead of reacting, I was just like, okay, I think I need to go have a look at what you did. But she was so filled with sadness and guilt about doing it that she just couldn't stop apologizing and saying she was sorry and getting upset. And typically she wants to hear me say, it's okay, but I don't want to give her the message that it's okay what she did. So what do you say when your child just keeps apologizing because they feel so bad? And I was kind of in a state like, okay, I just need to go look at this and see what's the damage. That was where I was at. And what she really needed from me was for me to just soften and let her know that, I wasn't mad at her and it was okay and I wasn't upset. But my instinct was like, okay, I need to go assess the damage. I need to know what you did and why you did it. And, it was kind of this tone where she could feel that I was not happy. And I was in the moment kind of confused about why she is so insistent on having me say it's okay, because I couldn't say that it was okay because it wasn't okay that she stabbed my chair. But it took some time for me to really understand what was going on with her, because she kept apologizing and I was getting irritated with that, because I was like, okay, could you just stop apologizing? Like, one apology is enough. It's not okay that you did this, but I'm going to go have a look at the chair and see how much damage and what needs to be done, and thinking there has to be some kind of a consequence or some sort. And I said, well, maybe there's some, repair that needs to be done that you could do and whatever. So I went out and I had a look at the chair. Well, it turns out that there really wasn't much that you could even see. It's like one of those pleather chairs that is dark brown, and she did it on the side, and I could feel a couple of tiny little holes, but you really couldn't see anything, and there was no big damage. So, and it's not an expensive chair. It's like cheap Wayfair. It's already got a big rip in the front. So I basically had to rethink my reaction. And even though I didn't freak out and I didn't yell at her and I didn't get all angry with her and I didn't, shame her or anything like that, my wheels were turning and I was thinking, how do I handle this? I don't want her to think that it's okay. But I have to realize that it is just a chair and it's not worth me destroying her confidence and self-esteem over. And so I just said to her, it isn't that bad. It's okay. It's just a chair. It's not a big deal. But she had this overwhelming guilt, and she just wouldn't accept that I was okay with it. Like, I'm okay with what has happened. I'm not going to, dwell on it. I'm not going to scold you over and over. I'm not going to hang it over your head. It's what's done is done. And it occurred to me that she really needs to know that I'm not mad at her. Like that was the point. After I took several minutes to think about, why has this got her so upset? Why is she saying sorry so much? And the situation is different for us than it is for some other people this may have happened to. I'm a single mom. Her father passed away 8 years ago when she was only 4. I'm the only parent in her life, and it really means a lot to her that I always kind of have a loving stance, and it really bothers her if I'm mad at her, and she holds on to that. So she really needs to know that I'm not mad at her, that I am okay with her, and that she still has my love, I guess you could say. And so when we react angrily over things that are really, if you put some perspective on it and realize, like, is this worth my child's happiness? Is this worth my child's self-worth? To shame and be angry with them and hold it over their heads and make it a big deal. No, it's not. And initially, that's the kind of reaction that I was used to getting, where, you do something foolish and then your parents just kind of criticize and shame you about it. And how could you do that? What were you thinking? Are you stupid or something? It was kind of like that generation. And I didn't want to do that. I don't want to be that parent. And it's really been hard for me to break that cycle of thinking from reactive shaming and criticism and putting down and anger to stopping, pausing, and remembering that this is my child's self-esteem, self-worth, trust in me, all of these things, that's really going to affect who they become. And I didn't want to do that. So after looking at the chair, and basically she had enough self-shaming that she didn't need any more from me. So I just said, it's okay. I'm not mad at you. I've let it go. It's not a big deal. It's just a chair. There's not a whole lot of damage there. But as long as you know that that's not a good way to get your anger out, and that that's not okay to destroy property. And I'm pretty sure that she knew as soon as she did it. She knew. And that's why she came clean. And she just told me honestly, like, I got mad and this is what I did. And I want her to be able to do that always, to always feel that she's safe to be honest with me, because there's going to be a lot worse things that could happen to her in her life, bad decisions that she might make in the moment, that I want her to feel safe talking to me about. So she had a moment of, unregulated emotion, and she needed to get some frustration out, and the only thing that came to her was to stab her pencil into the side of a chair. Well, I said to her, I tried to make it funny, and I said, well, at least you didn't stab it into the cat, like nobody's, you didn't hurt anybody or anything. So I think that's what we need to be more mindful of as parents. I'm trying to break a cycle of reactivity and anger and dealing with everything through contempt and criticism and put downs, and I don't want to be that parent. So it doesn't happen quickly, but the more mindful we are of it, the easier it becomes, and soon it will become your new automatic response of pause, think, is this something that I'm going to wager my child's self-worth on? And most of the time, it's not. It's really not. And if you know your kids well enough, you will know whether or not it's something that needs follow-up, something that needs a little more correction and connection over talking about why that was a bad decision, and, giving them alternatives when they're in those moments. And my daughter already knows that she did something that she shouldn't have done, and she was obviously very remorseful. She couldn't apologize enough, and it was really upsetting her that she thought I was mad at her. So ultimately, that's what they need, is to not feel shame and to not feel disappointment from their parents, their caregivers, the person that they love the most and want the most approval from, really is what it is. And I'm learning how to do better. And I think we all can learn how to do better. If you want to be better, then you can learn these tools, and you can accomplish exactly what you need to accomplish and be better as a parent, as a friend, as a sibling, whoever you have in your life that you may be a little bit too reactive with. You have to practice it, and it definitely is a practice. You have to be mindful. You have to remember that you don't want to be that way, and remember the way you do want to be. And so even if you do react initially, always take time to go back and repair. That is the game changer in the whole thing, to have that repair. And then I think we all feel better about ourselves and the way we're showing up in the world. So that's my little story of the night, about what happened with my daughter. And I even went back to her again this morning and I said, you know what, I'm not mad at you. It's okay. I love you. No matter what you do, good or bad, I'm going to love you. I'm not going to hold on to it, and you don't need to hold on to it either. And that was it. And she was fine. So that's something that I hope can help you in whatever situation you might come across with your loved ones. Take care.